bonjour, c'est Vivian Meme, elle est conseillère d'orientation. Vous savez que l'univers, en ce moment, est en train de tabler sur les problèmes liés aux violences scolaires. Et c'est l'occasion pour nous ce matin, justement, d'aborder un sujet qui est la délinquance juvénile. Elle est mieux placée ce matin pour en parler. Bonjour Vivian Meme.
Bonjour.
Bienvenue sur Bon Week-end.
Merci.
Voilà, vous portez bien?
Oui.
Alors.
I like the red on the hair.
Thank you.
They say delinquent and criminal behavior among young people is on the rise. Many have laid blame on the society, mostly social media and lack of parental guidance, because more parents are in search of maybe our daily bread and they don't focus on our kids, or peer pressure. Now, let me throw the question to you for you to give us more insight, because you're a guidance counselor as well as you're a counseling psychologist. Yes. Now, what is juvenile delinquency? Let's start from there.
Okay, thank you for that. Simply, juvenile delinquency, in simple terms, is actually a term used to describe, I'll say, criminal acts committed by minors. Normally, this term is kind of broad, so it encompasses even minor crimes, such as just skipping school, to more severe crimes, such as stealing and violent actions.
Violent actions like what we
Stabbing.
Stabbing, drug abuse, and all of that. Honoré?
Tout à fait. Là, maintenant, on a une définition claire de la délinquance juvénile. Maintenant, quelles sont les causes?
Okay, if we are talking about the causes of juvenile delinquency, I think that while Ruth was introducing, she mentioned some already. We'll talk about violence in homes. That is, kids that grow up in homes where there is a lot of violence. Either the violence are meted out on them or they are meted out on people around them. They actually grow up to be very violent because that is how they are able to express their frustrations. I'll tell you that kids who are subjected to violence are intense, violent people. So the only way they can express themselves and let out their frustration is to be violent to people they meet. So secondly, we have also peer pressure, like you mentioned. The kind of friends adolescents or teenagers keep in school is very important. Most of the times, parents do not bother about the kind of friends their kids keep, but it's very important to check once in a while. Because if you hang out with a drug addict, it's very possible that you're going to get into drugs. If you hang out with a bully, it's very possible that you're going to start bullying people around you. So parents to keep a check on the kind of friends their kids keep in school, in and out of school, it's very important. Another cause of juvenile delinquency, it's actually, should I say, violence in their social milieu. Now, when I talk about violence in the social milieu, I'm referring to people who live around neighborhoods in which there is a lot of violence. Kids with such mentality grow up knowing that the only way they have to stay out of trouble is to get into trouble. So while getting into trouble, they are trying to defend themselves. Most often, when such kids are removed from such an environment, definitely their delinquency can be cut because they are living just to survive. Now, we talk about socio-economic factors as well. That is, students or children who grow up in homes with low-income earners and neighborhoods with low-income earners. They are prone to a lot of
hardship, a lot of survival for the fittest.
Exactly. So they feel like the only way I have to survive is to be violent. I have to steal in order to prosper. I have to bully people around and maybe collect their phones in order to be able to survive. Because in such situations, their parents are not able to provide and meet their daily needs. But such kids too, if their daily needs are met, they will be able to cope the delinquency they are living in.
That's us talking about the solution. But before we get to that, we are in this generation which they say is the computer savvy generation. How does it affect maybe, I don't know, their mindset, their growth rate? Because they say everything now, people have access to a lot of social media and it's not able to.
Very true, Ruth. If you go to many schools, you will see that at the entrance of the school, we have guards who check who check the school bags to make sure that the students do not bring funny things like phones and all that. And back at home, most students, their parents do not follow them up on what they watch. You go home, you are all on your own. You can swap from one TV channel to the other. You have a phone that belongs to you. You can just watch any trash you meet on social media, and it has a lot of influence on the child. It has a lot of influence on the child. So if you are talking about this, it's very correct, because most parents do not pay attention to the things their children watch. They don't pay attention to it. So a child is free to watch whatever thing he or she wants to watch, and by so doing, those things have an indirect influence on the child. I want to practice what I watch on social media and see how it goes.
Alors,
Yeah.
Alors, Vivian Meme, vous êtes conseiller d'orientation, certes, c'est vrai. Maintenant, quel est le rôle que vous apportez à ces enfants-là qui versent dans la délinquance juvénile?
Okay, one, as a guidance counselor, what I do, or what most of my colleagues do, is to be able to observe these kids in school and then identify children who are already suffering from risk factors. When we identify them, we call them, we are able to communicate that to the administrators, and then we are able to follow them up. We relate that to their parents as well. While relating that to their parents, we are in all of this, in our counseling sessions, meeting up with the parents, our first focus is actually to discover the cause of the risk factors, because you discover that every delinquent has something that prompted he or she to become delinquent. It may actually be a violence at home, like I mentioned, maybe peer pressure. So you cannot be solving something you have actually not discovered the cause of that thing. So while we follow up these kids and we discover the cause of them becoming delinquent, we report to their parents, and if need be, we can refer them to clinical psychologists or to medical practitioners.
How many of those clinical psychologists do we even have here in Cameroon? Because I think that was a profession where people were so lukewarm towards it, but right now, the more and more the society is evolving, we have noticed that we need more and more of those persons.
You're very correct, because we have a few clinical psychologists, very few. When you even get to hospitals, at times you don't meet them. Most hospitals don't have them. So even finding them, it's a problem. It's a field that many people have dreaded, but it's a field that we are actually in need of right now. Because if we must curb juvenile delinquency, then we need the help of clinical psychologists.
Okay.
Faced with maybe a child, before we go, who has just undergone, who has just carried out a violent act like stabbing, how do you approach that child?
Okay, one, meeting a child that has committed a violent act like stabbing as a counselor, I'll first of all make you understand that we understand that you are living a situation. I will not apportion the blame. I will not come like I'm a police officer who wants to punish you for the crime you have committed. I'll come as a friend and try to understand you. I understand that you're living a traumatic situation, because in normal circumstances you will not just get up and stab somebody. Can you confide in me? Can you tell me actually how did it happen? How actually you feel when you do this kind of, when you committed this kind of act? Are you going through some terrible situations and you do not just know how to express them better? And then when you get to talk with them, you may discover that you're going to reveal a lot of things that you may just sit there and cry a lot. You may help them instead cry, but we are not supposed to do that as counselors.
You have to be professional, like outside.
They can be touched actually, and you may actually discover that the child needs help rather than being punished. But I'm not refusing the fact that delinquents, when they commit acts, they should not be punished.
Tout à fait, Vivian Meme, on rappelle que vous êtes conseiller d'orientation, et c'est un sujet dont il fallait automatiquement aborder ce matin, parce que il est vrai qu'en semaine, les parents n'ont pas assez de temps, et Bon Week-end sert de relais pour, n'est-ce pas, communiquer avec les parents ainsi que les enfants. Merci infiniment. Je crois que de temps en temps, on t'aura sur le plateau de Bon Week-end pour parler des sujets aussi intéressant comme celui qu'on vient d'aborder ce matin. Merci infiniment pour le déplacement que vous avez effectué pour Bon Week-end ce matin.
Okay, thank you very much. It was my pleasure, and I hope to come back again next time.
Yes,
Ruth, I'm grateful.
you can give your contact so that maybe parents who have maybe delinquent children at home could call you and seek for professional advice.
Okay, it's 670-866858. 670-866858. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Voilà.
Vivian Meme.
Il est exactement, c'est